I like it, but I'm curious to know what's up with nature.
Nah.
Why is it growing like that?
It's telling me something else going on. I need to hear from the local.
What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets React, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. Super excited about this video, guys.
Yes.
If you're new to us and we're new to you, make sure you scroll down, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the post notification bell because we're on the road to 100K. And we cannot get there without you guys, all right? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Geography professor told me that if you want to make the shape of Namibia on your hand, just curl your index finger, stick out your thumb, and go like this.
That's B, look like we doing some type of...
Let me check. Bloods, Crips, Kings...
No!
Common Crips. No, I think we're good. I went to a public school in Chicago.
Bro! What's wrong with this guy? Hey, I'm gonna just say this one quick. Like, we've seen so much of his personality before. This one really spoke volumes. Like, it's different. It's different.
How do you know all that? Well,
Chicago.
He just said how you know all that.
Correct. Man.
Your host Barbs, Namibia, South Africa's ex-wife, but now getting back together and dating again, girlfriend who speaks German, kind of, and has unexplained polka dots. Yeah, Africa, love this place. You'll never be bored with this continent. Let's find Namibia on the map now, shall we?
Let's get it.
Namibia.
It's a pretty name.
Namibia is known for being one of the safest and cleanest places to visit in all of Africa. Not the cheapest, but you can still kind of get by and get lost in the maze of open space.
How much open space?
A lot. Let's take a look at the map now, shall we? First of all, Namibia is located in southern Africa with a long coast along the Atlantic. It looks like they are only bordered by Angola, Botswana, and South Africa, but if you look over here...
Now, first of all, the fact that they're bordered by Atlantic Ocean already tells me that I know they got good beaches.
Ooh, yeah.
And we was told that Atlantic Ocean is tremendously cold. Yeah. Like, tremendously cold. But I know they got, like, some fire beaches. Guys, too.
I mean, for the view, at least.
Here, they have this long panhandle known as the Caprivi Strip. And at the very end of it, they share a river border with Zambia and Zimbabwe as well, making it the world's only quadrupoint between sovereign nations.
Wow.
You talked about it in the Botswana episode, right?
Yes, I did. Watch it again, guys. The country is divided into
we'll check that out, by the way, y'all.
The capital and largest city, Windhoek, nestled in the central Khomas region. It also has the country's largest and only international airport, Windhoek's Hosea Kutako International. Otherwise, numerous domestic and regional airports and airstrips exist in every region except these three. After Windhoek, the next largest cities are Rundu in the northeast and Walvis Bay, which holds one of the two main shipping ports, Walvis Bay Harbor, which is the only natural harbor in the country, divided by the Pelican Point Sand Spit, which holds these cool saltwork evaporation fields.
Is that
and then
right?
there's a smaller Darrett's Harbor further south. Each of these port cities are the final coastal stops for the largest rail network run by the National Train Service, Trans-Namib. It traverses the entire country, going into Angola and South Africa, with proposed future lines that will enter into Botswana. Now back to the Caprivi Strip thing. It looks weird, right? Why does Namibia have that one long panhandle? Well, basically, it kind of went like this. Well, we Germans took over Southwest Africa and East Africa. We need to connect them, but those pesky British keep blocking the way.
Tell you what, maybe we can do a bit of a trade-off.
How so?
Well, you see those Zanzibar islands? Give me them.
What?
Yeah, give me them.
That is literally off the coast of my territory.
Do it, and I'll give you a corridor to the Zambezi River. It should go all the way to the east coast, and that's what you want, right?
Okay, then give me back illegal land.
Fact check in the comic section, y'all.
Yes.
Fact check that.
Deal. Ha!
Ooh, what's so funny?
Oh, nothing. Thanks for doing business, David Livingstone.
What?
Germany.
Yeah, they knew a little secret. Otherwise,
That's
Namibia has
crazy.
quite a unique civil structure because it's huge, but with only about 3 people per square kilometer.
So, like, I could totally bury some treasure over there, and, like, nobody would find it.
Yeah, but don't sail on the north coast. You could die. The Portuguese called it the gates to hell. The Bushmen called it the land god made in anger. But today, it's commonly known as the Skeleton Coast. This strange geological phenomena in which colossal orange desert sand dunes converge right into the ocean, where you can find tons of shipwrecked vessels of ill-prepared seafarers.
That's crazy.
Oh, no. It's like an ocean of water.
That was beautifully illustrated, Keith. On top of that, there are quite a few notable places of interest that you might want to consider checking out if you come, such as Kolmenskop Ghost Town, Standerberg Castle, the Hoba Meteorite, the largest meteorite in the world, the sand dunes of Sossusvlei, the Gibeon Meteorites, the Solitaire Installation, the dinosaur footprints of this farm, the Tropic of Capricorn Crossing, Christkirke, the Cheetah Conservation Fund, Crocodile Ranch, the Ombalantu Baobab Tree, the Twiffelfontein Rock Carvings, Independence Memorial Museum, and Heroes Acre. Whew, yeah, lots of space and lots of cool sites, especially the natural ones. Which brings us to...
Okay. First of all, looking at all of that, it looks hot.
It does. Like...
Yeah, it looks hot there.
Like, I need to know what's the feeling between the sand and the ocean.
It's called Skeleton Beach. That's what he called it?
Something like that. Skeleton was the word, though.
Because they look beautiful. The pictures look beautiful. Like, makes you want to go there, but at the same time, it's scary.
It does.
Yeah, I don't want to end up a skeleton.
Now, Namibia is quite a dry country.
How dry is it?
The driest nation in sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah,
but
it
Namibia
looks
isn't
like
all
it.
sand and desert. There's quite a bit of lush vegetation too. You just have to know where to find it. First of all, the country is generally divided into 5 different geographic areas. Along the coast and north, you have the oldest desert in the world, the Namib Desert, which is where the Skeleton Coast that we talked about lies. Just
Skeleton
west,
Coast.
you have the Central Plateau, a dry region where the tallest peak in the country lies, Brandenburg Mountain, with Kungenstein Peak at over 2,500 meters high. This is also where most of the population lives and where you can find most of the arable land. In the south, there's the Great Escarpment, a hilly rocky shrubland with the longest river in the country, the Fish River, which also has the Fish River Canyon, the largest canyon in Africa. In the northeast and the Caprivi Strip, you have the Bushveld, the greenest and lushest part of Namibia, with the savanna and forests that extend all the way to the Okavango Delta and Zambezi River. It is also here where you can find the famous Etosha Pan. At over 120 kilometers long, it is one of the largest salt flats in the world.
Hey, I have one of those. Let's hang out sometime.
The largest natural lake in the country, though, is this tiny little guy, only about 6,600 square meters, Lake Guinness, which is actually a sinkhole lake caused by a collapsed cave. Finally, we reach the world-renowned Kalahari Desert in the east, famous for being a strange place with unique plant and wildlife species, since it kind of gets more rain than most other deserts. Also, fun side note, in the Namib Desert, there's a strange natural phenomena known as fairy circles. And here's random Jillian explaining what fairy circles are.
Okie dokie. Fairy circles are a strange natural phenomena only found in dry regions of Africa and Australia. The grass naturally grows in a circle pattern with an empty dirt or sand pit in the middle. Scientists have theories as to why this happened, but so far the exact explanation still remains shrouded in enigma.
I like it, but I'm curious to know what's up with nature. Why is it growing like that?
It's telling me something else going on. I need to hear from the locals.
Right, because that is something that's going to probably be on one of these like channels where you can see one of the most strangest things going on. That is definitely strange.
Yes. Tell us what y'all grandparents said.
Thank you,
Come on,
Jillian.
man.
Yep.
In the meantime, it's time for my triple shot of espresso break, which means Noah takes over the rest of the segment.
Triple shot.
I feel you, boy.
Noah. Namibia is unique in that despite much of the country being dry, it's not completely inhospitable. Over 200 species of mammals, like the national animal, the oryx, can be found, as well as over 600 species of birds and over 4,300 plants, at least 700 of which are endemic. Much of their industries are centered around production of resources like meat, fish, minerals, and diamonds. Especially diamonds, they're one of the top 10 producers.
Nobody beats Russia in diamonds.
And speaking of resources, food. First off, from what we were told, Namibians love meat. And when the meat-loving Germans came in, well, let's just say it wasn't too hard to agree on something.
Look, we hated your colonial rule, but we really dig the bratwurst, schnitzel, and what is that crazy thing you do with the whole pig?
Oh, you mean the Spanferkel?
Yes! Man, you guys are so crazy.
Yeah.
That was weird. Okay.
Some
Yeah,
dishes you guys, the Namibian geography suggests we mentioned, might include things like kapana, silver cod, and Luderit's crayfish, fat cakes, poppin' vlees, wapane worms, koiki, Kalahari truffles, and those gigantic omojoa mushrooms. The national drink Oshikindu, and everywhere you can find Namibian-style game barbecue known as braai, featuring legally hunted animals like kudu, springbok zebra, and crocodile. And speaking of which, you'll find that the people of Namibia, much like the diverse set of animals, come from a myriad of colorful traditions and customs. Which brings us to...
Let me know what y'all doing with the mushrooms. What type of dishes are we cooking with the mushrooms? I seen mushrooms twice in a photo, so I know they grow tremendously big. Like, they get really big.
Right.
So that's dope.
So they have seafood, babe.
I seen that
They have seafood.
crayfish.
I don't think I've seen too many of the countries we react to have
some good looking seafood.
Seafood.
Like seafood
Crayfish.
is what we love.
Now, okay, so in some parts of the world, people call crayfish what we call crawfish.
And if you want to go a little deep into our world, we also call them mud bugs.
Yeah, mud bugs. So that's up our alley.
Thank you, Noah. Follow him on Instagram.
No problem. Excuse me.
So anyway, now Namibia is huge, but has very few people, like less than the population of Jamaica. Yet they still retain these ever so slightly noticeable German undertones. And that's a whole other story. We'll explain soon. But first, Namibia has about 2.7 million people and is the second least densely populated sovereign nation in the world after Mongolia. The country has quite a few people groups, but the largest group, about half of the population, being Ovambo, followed by the Kavango at 9%. Mixed people of all types make up about 8%. The Herero and Damara each take up about 7% each. And the rest are various other people groups that we'll discuss later, like the Whites, the Himba, the Lozi, the San, and so on. They use the Namibian dollar as their currency, which is pegged to the South African rand. They use the types D and M plug outlets, and they drive on the left side of the road. Now back to the people thing. During the scramble for Africa in the late 1800s, the area of what is now Namibia fell under German rule for about 30 years. It got kind of messy. There was a genocide. We'll talk about that later. Until finally South African forces took over in 1915. Anyway, the thing is, despite Germany having a short presence in the area, their legacy still kind of clung on and lives on to this day. And you see in things like road signs, buildings, there's even some German radio stations and a newspaper, so yeah. Nonetheless, only about 2 to 3% of the population actually speaks it natively, mostly the white German population. However, it is taught in many schools and used as a commercial language. Up until 1990, it was actually a co-official language with English and Afrikaans. Faith-wise, most Namibians at least nominally identify as Christian, somewhere at 80 to 90%, mostly belonging to Protestant branches, especially the largest one being Lutheran. It was brought over from German and surprisingly Finnish missionaries in the 19th century.
And that's the closest thing that I've ever seen to an African colony. No bloodshed. Cheers.
Culturally speaking, depending on how you compartmentalize them, there are somewhere between 10 to 15-ish main people groups in Namibia. But basically, it can be broken down into...
So Germany had taken over, basically, kind of, without any crazy war behind it.
But there was a genocide.
But there was a genocide, so when he said no bloodshed, it's kind of not like...
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to not go there, but we see what's up.
4 family categories: the Bantu, the Khoisan, the Mixed, and the Whites. Let's go over some of them, shall we? In a nutshell, the Khoisan groups in Namibia, like the Nama, the San, and the Kung, are kind of like the original inhabitants. Yes, that little exclamation mark is a click sound, and I'm not even joking, it's a real people group. They are one of the oldest cultures in the world, dating back to the Stone Age, famous for having various techniques that have helped them develop into the harsh climates. They're also famous for their distinguishing features. They're some of the only black people in the world that have natural epicanthic folds on their eyes from birth, similar to
You know,
we have people in Louisiana who looks just like this.
Man, I could name one right now.
For real, like, it's crazy.
That's crazy. That just hit home. Like, that's...
Who have, like, the only folds,
I remember
like, they're Asian.
When I was younger, like, not to cut you off, go ahead.
No.
No, when I was younger, I used to know a cat like that. Like, few people like that.
Yeah, I finished school with people who look like this. So, in another video, we did learn about the Khoisan people. So, it's just, I don't know, just seeing that he's saying they're the only people who look like this, but knowing that we know people who look just like this.
They, like, go way back in time. Like he said, Stone Age. So... Right. The roots it runs deep.
Yeah, history can be very, very, very uncomfortable sometimes, but it's like a wow.
Hold on, I gotta give them 10 seconds. We gotta take 10. Take 10 back real quick just to hit that one more time.
In the world dating back to the Stone Age, famous for having various techniques that have helped them develop into the harsh climates. They're also famous for their distinguishing features. They are some of the only black people in the world that have natural epicanthic folds on their eyes from birth, similar to East Asians.
Epic what?
Epicanthic fold. Yeah, that's like the medical term for the eyes, you know, the ding 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 ding. We can do that, we're Asian.
Send your complaints at geographylater@gmail.com.
In addition, they are known for being the originators of the click languages, you know, the ones with the sounds. Later on, other Bantu groups migrated from West Africa around 1000 BC, and they would adopt these sounds into their languages like Zulu or Xhosa. But Khoisan is kind of the one that started it all.
You know that language they speak in Black Panther? The Wakandan language? You know, it's actually the Xhosa language from South Africa. It's so original and unique. Thank goodness there's such an original click language like...
So, he mentioned earlier that in schools out there, it's more so taught in English and German, right? So they don't speak their own?
They do.
In the schools?
In the schools. That's a good topic. Do they teach that and teach like the ethnic
clicking
languages in the schools?
Right,
because I do know in South Africa, a lot of supporters were saying that they do learn their language.
They learn their language, and that's big. I believe that's so important. But to be colonized by Germans.
Yeah, and keep it.
Keep it that way. Like, do they allow that in schools now? Or it has just been strict English?
Think about, when when the whole world was getting colonized, right? Mm-hmm. English. The reason we speak English, the reason we speak French in Louisiana, speak Spanish in Louisiana, that's from Spain, that's from England, that's from France, mm-hmm. So that's why we speak it.
Yeah, okay.
Kosa.
Just let it go. Now let's talk about the Bantu groups. The largest Bantu group, known as the Ovambo or Ovambo, are people that are found mostly in the north along the border with Angola. They love wearing the color fuchsia, and they have this really cool fruit harvest festival. The Kavango and Lozi people live mostly in the lush, greener panhandle areas by the Capri Strip. They are famous for their woodwork and have an interesting king and queen boat ceremony. The Herero people mostly live in the central and eastern parts of the country. They are famous for their colorful Victorian-style gowns inspired by German and Finnish missionaries who settled there. In addition, the cousins of the Herero people, the Himba up north, are probably the most isolated group that maintains their traditional way of life. They're famous for using ojize paste made out of butterfat and ochre, used as a sunscreen that they put on their skin and hair to protect against the sun and heat. According to tradition, the Damara people, possibly the oldest Bantu group in Namibia, were enslaved by the click-speaking Nama people and adopted their language, even though they are Bantu. You see a lot of Khoisan influence in them, like animal skin clothing and hunting techniques. And after the Bantu and Khoisan groups, you have the mixed peoples like the Coloreds, the Orlams, the Basters. What'd you say? I know, it sounds bad, but that's literally what they call themselves. These are the people that have both European and African ancestry to varying degrees. They even develop their own communities and traditions, much like those in South Africa. And finally, you have the Namibian whites, mostly Germans and Afrikaners. The German community of Namibians actually still holds a lot of tradition from Germany. They have their own African-style Oktoberfest, which everybody takes part in because beer. Now, there are many other smaller groups within the...
Okay, so we have an Oktoberfest. Oh my God, we should bring y'all along to some of the culture things that we have here. Yeah. But they have an Oktoberfest here. We have yet to go, but we know that Germans like to drink. So we would love to know, like, what are some culture festivals that you guys have there? What's your favorite one?
And if there's any videos, man, you know what to do about the links, right? So we'll be looking out for that.
4, but these are probably the most noticeable ones that people will talk about in Namibia.
But wait, you forgot to talk about the monarchs.
Oh yeah, we don't really have too much time to get into it, but the country has over 30 traditional and constituent monarchs and 5 chiefs that rule over legally recognized areas, but they have little or no sovereign government power. In the meantime, history, in the quickest way I can condense it: Khoisan groups, Bantu migration, this Portuguese dude stops by, but he doesn't really care. Orlam people cross over in the 1800s, they make peace with the Nama people, Nama Herero War, Germany comes in, it becomes German Southwest Africa. The two groups that fought each other are now joining up and they fight the Germans. The first genocide of the 20th century. 1915, South Africa takes over. Weird police zones and confining people groups to certain territories. A separatist group starts and rebels, thinking about an independent state, or as I like to call it, NAMIBIA. Independence from South Africa in 1990. Multi-party democracy introduced. Caprivi Strip tries to secede, but Namibia is like, oh no. And here we are today. Otherwise, some notable people from Namibia or of Namibian descent might include people like Anna Mungunda, Sam Nujoma, this musician and civil rights activist, Michelle McLean, Gwen Lister, Frankie Fredericks, Joanna Benson, Ricardo Manetti, Gaza, Knowledge Kati and Herod Pupkewitz, Paulo Sambunda, Harry Simon, Behati Prinsloo. For a place with fewer people than Jamaica, they sure have quite a few notable people. And speaking of places outside of Namibia, let's talk about their friends, shall we?
He just speeds past that word.
If Africa was a family, Namibia would kind of be like this straight B student. You know, they kind of coast by comfortably and keep things chill, and everyone just kind of gets along with them. For Germany, things are generally amicable, as Namibia has had the highest concentration of Germans in Africa for a while. Tourists love coming. They give them lots of investments and machinery. Considerable numbers of Namibians live in Germany. Germany, and some have even become famous, like Eric Sell, winner of X Factor Germany. Finland also surprisingly has great relations, as they invest heavily in their forestry and environment sectors, which not only boosted trade, but also prompted Prime Minister Nahas Angula to visit. Cuba was a major player that helped them during apartheid and independence years, and to this day, they still help with scholarships and medical support. As a member of the SADC, they generally get along with all their neighbors. Tanzania, Rwanda, and Burundi kind of winked their eyes as they passed by, since they were also under the Germans as East Africa during occupation years. However, every single Namibian I have talked to has told me that their best friends would probably be Botswana and South Africa. Botswana is kind of like the slightly richer sister that always tags along for the adventures. The two share much culturally, especially in the Khoisan people groups found in the Kalahari Desert that they both share. Trade and business is also huge between them. South Africa, though, is kind of like the husband they divorced but then started to date again. The two are inseparable. Not only is the vast majority of trade and business done with South Africa, but so many Namibian and South Africans travel to see each other, often marrying each other, having families. They both speak English and Afrikaans. They both love biltong. Namibia even stopped using daylight savings time to match up with South Africa. In the end, they're a cute couple. In conclusion, Namibia may be huge with lots of space, but with millions of colors, sights, sounds, tastes, and German beer, it's definitely not empty. Stay tuned. Nauru is coming up next.
Interesting.
That was really, really interesting.
Yeah. Different. Again, he did give an overlook of everything, but I will always want to go into that 4K view of, Namibia.
Yes.
So.
Drop those links, guys. We want to see everything. We don't just want to see one part of a certain town. If you're going to send a link about a town, just make sure that it's a well-formed, well-rounded video showing us everything, not just like little bits and pieces.
We need some food in there too.
Yes.
Yes.
We don't want just no veggies and potatoes. We want some
of that
meat.
crayfish. Crayfish, they call it?
Crayfish?
They call it crayfish? The crawfish? Is it K?
Oh, crayfish. Yeah.
Crayfish. All right. Boom. Gotta get some of that too.
Yes. So, if you like this video, make sure you like this video, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell. We have enabled our super thanks. If you like to support the channel that way, as well as our join feature to become a VIP member of the channel. Send in your links through the description box below. We'll see you soon.
Peace.